Hi, welcome back, guys. So I don't have my AirPods in right now, so I hope my mic is working normally or as good as last time at least. I'll have a look once I finish recording. So actually, I came a bit prepared to make it a bit shorter, more compact, explaining the setups of the day. I ended up taking one trade, ended up netting me 2.5%, which I'm more than happy with. And just gonna go over. I made some live posts and see how price developed and my thought process during the live trading environments, and see what I could have done better as well myself. Because self-analyzing is very important in trading. Okay, so I made a post about how we got a range here. We knew that we had that bullish structure and a liquidity that we could sweep, and we create a range because Bitcoin most of the time is just ranging. And we actually had that sweep of the high, and I was telling you guys that like, yo, I'm gonna look for shorts in case we lose this green box. Told you guys on Twitter, and what ended up happening is I was also watching a 1 minute, and the 1 minute actually had already had a bearish break right here. It's a very, very bad break. I would not use this break just because it has a wick here and then the candle next to it closes, but not really closes any lower than the previous candle low wick. And then we went up and down. I would actually say right here on this candle, we have a 1 minute bearish market structure change. However, I like to incorporate my volume areas as well. We were just inside that volume area and below that volume area high, which is what I like to see if I want to short. Because then I can just say that structure is pointing down towards the rotation to the low, and I have confluence with the volume area saying, yo, we're losing the volume area high. Most likely we'll have a rotation to the POC, and the next up is the volume area low. However, what was bothering me is that we had this range demand here, and it can easily just break the 1 minute bearish just to continue the 2 minute market structure pool, which was this. So that's why I said, yo guys, I want to at least see us lose that green box. In other words, lose that 2 minute structure pool to look for shorts. And of course, I'm expecting a retrace, because if we break here, I'm not going to short here just to target here. You know, the RR needs to be worth it, which is same in every trade. So what happened was, um, we got like a pretty nice and aggressive 1 minute break, slicing through this demand zone, actually also slicing to the more refined demand zone right here. And I was expecting, like, if you see it slicing through the demand zone, you potentially can get a bounce from like this with like 3 candles back to back to back, recovering almost like 60% of that order block. You're most likely going to get through the demand zone. So you could try a short in here, while putting your stop loss below the internal high of the market structure from the top down, just to refine your entry. Because why, if you break 1 minute market structure bearish, but you break it back to bullish again? You know, that's your confirmation to short. So breaking it back to bullish is your invalidation. However, if you do this and if you try to decide to take a short here, which in my eyes is valid, yeah, you really have to watch what happens at the more important market structure low. And once you see it SFP and you see it pull up like this, that's also the time to tell yourself like, yo, I'm gonna exit this trade, and like, don't risk it, because you're not breaking that 2 minute low. You want it to continue going down. And then if you go up and you do end up going down, maybe you can get an entry on the retrace, you know, but don't lose money over a silly mistake like that, knowing you SFP'd the low. don't trade with a bias once you short here. So I was just watching it. I didn't end up pulling the trigger. I saw the SFP of the 2 minute low. However, SFP of this 2 minute low doesn't particularly mean that we're going to rotate all the way back up to that range high. Like the moment we break upward structure, um, that's when this low becomes weak again. Because what's the job of this low if you SFP the 2 minute? The job of this low is to take out the high that we put in. And if you break market structure in the uptrend, that's indicating that this low is failing to do its job, becoming weak in nature again. So that's why I also told you guys, yo, I'm watching for another sweep of this high for potential model one distribution into this 30-minute order block with imbalance that we have up here. Or I'm just waiting until that market structure from the uptrend from this low breaks and then I'll short it again. And I after I made that post, I saw that we actually had this 1 minute order block with imbalance all the way up in that wick, which of course, if we look at it from a market maker perspective, which is Wyckoff, it will be the most ideal place to fill up their positions because it's as close to the wick as it can get, causing them to fill even bigger positions. So as you can see, they swept the high because Wyckoff is related with it's kind of looking at it from a market maker perspective, right? So they saw the liquidity here, they saw liquidity on that high. They took out the high, filled their shorts, their initial shorts. Still didn't have that much power to push price immediately down. So it failed to take out the low. It went back up, and this is where they got in their extra positions. So we came back up. I was watching the market structure closely, and I saw this break here. Like how the break look with the immediate back test, as you can see. We had this 1 minute break. Here we had that 1 minute OBIM. Immediately the next candle pulls back in and goes down. So I actually entered 50% on the break. And then the moment I saw this candle being like a doji candle, and then the next candle becoming bearish, I added the rest immediately. And I have my stop above the high, which is my invalidation. We have the return to zone below us. And as we know with the Wyckoff, the technical target would be the range low. So exact entry was this, stop went above the high, and then the target was the range low for a 3.3 RR. It was a bit less when I entered 3.1. There you go. This was the setup. Don't touch the damn thing after you took the trade. Just try and analyze it along the way, which is why I also said there was no reason to exit this trade anytime sooner than the range low because the market structure from the top down was just going down. It looked like we actually were forming somewhat of an accumulation here, but that just failed. And that's even more signs of more bearishness. So the moment this failed, I was very confident that we were going to come to the low. The only thing that I could have done better, which is also why I said that I made it 2.5% instead of a 3RR, because I like to front run my TPs. So I have my TP below this low here, below this internal low, my main take profit. And my idea was actually to take out 75% here, see what it does, and then potentially take out the rest at this more defined range demand, the other 25%. But what happened is we front ran my first 75% TP like by the cent, actually like by the cent. And I was so annoyed for some reason that it was just by the cent. And I knew our structure was still pointing down like this. Now we could easily reject from this and that you can just throw your stop above this point. But it just came so close that on this pump candle, I already took that TP, which was unnecessary because like those like those tiny mistakes caused me to not make another extra 0.5% in the same trade. Like it was not gonna, I don't have to open a whole new position. It's like it's a free 0.5% that I missed out on just because I got frustrated that my TP did not hit its first initial push down. But then the rest was still below here, and then I cashed out the rest. So it was very nice trade. And then we came into our POI, which was I was also posting about that the order flow objective of this Wyckoff Model 2 could just be to mitigate demand for that 1 hour higher low. And I was just to visualize that those words is I was referring to this break here, that this whole move up is just one market structure pull on the 1 hour, and that we could just have a higher low for a higher high in here, which can still happen. It just didn't bounce from here, but it can still happen from this point. And I was definitely watching for a long in this area. And what created itself was we actually had a Model 1 accumulation in this demand zone, actually hitting that more refined range demand. However, we had PPI news. I think it was PPI. We have our Model 1 right here. We know we like to enter on that fractal break, but that's the moment news entered, 2:30 p.m. And I'm not going to enter any trades on news. So no entry for me, but it's nice to see Wyckoff do its thing. However, after the push up, it wasn't able to create a new higher high. It just actually hit the range supply that was created when we entered the trade. And this indicates even more that there was definitely a market maker entering short positions here because price came up and they just protected their positions to make even another lower low. If we look at it from a more 15-minute market structure pool, where you have the break here, the retest, and the lower low. So that was no short in here, there was no long in here. It happened too fast. There was no market maker to confirm the entry, and then price just came down, and we kind of got that rounding off effect going on here, and now we're going higher. So if we look at it from a 10-minute market structure perspective, we actually have our lower high being right here. So we took the high and we broke lower. We got that retest in that range supply where we entered the short on, and they pushed price lower. So I would say we are definitely taking out this main high when we break this 10-minute high, which is pretty far away still. Highs are pretty close to each other, so it kind of makes sense that that's going to happen. We had a 5-minute OBYM here, which is what I was looking at. Because from a 5-minute market structure perspective, we actually have that low, lower high, lower low. And then I was my range here. Clear range, had a Wyckoff at the bottom, but it was untradeable because there was no structure to confirm any entry. You had the 1, the 2, the 3, indicating I'm a Wyckoff Model 1. It kind of went over, so this Model 1 kind of went over into a Model 2, where if there's an entry, you could have entered here, but in my books, this is not a proper market structure pool. So following my rules, sticking to my rules, enter a trade. And now we're coming close to that range high, where I would look for possible scalp plays, continuing that 10-minute lower high, lower low market structure pool. And if we don't get the rejection here and we start breaking this high, I don't see price stopping from taking that 1-hour high. This is where we can still get a rejection because we have that 30-minute order block with imbalance here. And I was also pointing towards the fact that let's say we don't make a 1-hour, if we don't make a 1-hour higher high, what we have is kind of strange from a market structure perspective because then price had a higher low and a higher high right here, but then we broke it bearish on this candle just to break it back to bullish again. And then if we do not take that high and we go lower, we broke it bearish just to break it bullish again, just to break it bearish again. And once you have that market structure that's flipping, that actually indicates that you are in a range. That's why I also made a post about that this could be our possible new range, which is kind of clean. Yeah, it looks kind of clean. We have a range, we have that liquidity below, we have our range low with also sell side liquidity here and demand right under us. So very simple trade ideas. If we see this, is of course trade like this and a trade like this. The most basic ones, especially this one, because I think most people are going to look at the all-time high and then totally miss this short, or like probably in this wick here, there are going to be a lot of breakout longs longing it up towards the all-time high, thinking that we're going to an 80K. And if market maker decides to maybe push price down before taking that all-time high, it can be a very nice short because a lot of people are trapped. So clean price action on Bitcoin, the clean Wyckoff Model 2 distribution, break, hitting that 1 minute OBIM up there, amazing return to zone, and just a nice 2.5% move. That should have been the 3%, but we learn. And then lastly, I just wanted to come back on that Sol trade that I posted, which was that was given on a silver platter. Like I don't want to give signals, but that was a signal. But I want to explain why I hesitated and I did not ended up taking it. So just as Bitcoin range also had, or Sol also had its own range, and I was looking for a short, but I just didn't manage to get in. I was looking to get in on here, but Bitcoin was also accumulating at that point, that ended up failing. So I don't want to risk any money on a Sol short as well, because if Bitcoin was going to pump, Sol was going to pump as well. So I'm basically doubling down on that short risk idea. But what happened was we grabbed all that sell side liquidity and we deviated the range low with an immediate bullish break back inside. Like that's what you want to see if you want to have a rotation. Is we came down, broke that range low, rejected from the range low, put in a lower low, and then bam, massive bullish expansion up, breaking structure. So it not only ended up breaking structure, it also broke structure back inside the volume area. So now we're not just testing range demand for a higher low and a higher high, we're also back testing the volume area low. And that's why I said we could have probably an easy rotation back up towards the volume area high. What I didn't see in the moment is this 1 minute OBOM that we created, this 1 minute order block with imbalance. And I was waiting for a reconfirmation. Let me clean this up. I was waiting for a reconfirmation to take a long. So here we had, once we broke structure from the top down was down, up, down, right here. And we actually broke it ever so slightly right on this 1 minute candle, mitigating 1 minute OBOM, put in the demand, and then going higher. So once you see it pull back from a candle like this with a 1 minute candle that looks like this, where you can clearly see the sell to buy and the candle close that's bullish, try along, and I would not put my stop below the low. I would be a bit more risk averse and keep it under that order block and then targeting the range high, which is an amazing, or not the range high, but the volume area rotation, just like I posted on Twitter, for quick 3.3 RR, which is amazing. Then you will make 6% in a day and you're done. Literally, you're done. However, the reason why I hesitated is first, I didn't see this 1 minute order block with imbalance. I don't know how, but I just didn't see it. So the moment we broke here, I was like, ah, it's a terrible break. We're already coming down. That was my mind or my thought process in the moment. Like, oh, this is a terrible break, and we're already coming down. And we went back up, and I just like, oh, fuck. Once we were like right here, I was like, oh, we actually bounced from that 1 minute OBOM. However, we also had this 1 minute supply zone in front of us. So what I wanted to do is like I was like, okay, well, I missed this break with the retest. Let me just enter on the second internal break. So meaning I will just enter once we break this high again. What ended up happening is we had our supply zone above and we just wicked it and wicked it. So I couldn't enter on this pullback because it was a wick of the high, and I couldn't enter on this pullback because it was also a wick of the high. Like, ah, shit. In the moment we actually broke a high with a candle close, we were already at the primary market picture high, which is that 3 minute high, following this 3 minute pull like this. So I couldn't confirm an entry anymore on the internal pool right here because we wicked the high twice, not giving me an entry on any type of pullback. So that's why I posted to you guys. I'm looking for a long once we break this 3 minute main high, and then we have a back test of it, and then we blast off for a quick scalp play, following this internal pull for our stop loss to have a good RR. I would enter here and put my stop below here to target here, which is also which is a later entry, but it's still the same RR, which is amazing. If you use market structure, you can enter later on trades and still have amazing RRs. But as you guys should know, is that if I make a drawing indicating a break and a retest, I don't want it to be the same candle. So we broke the 3 minute right here. The immediate candle after got the retest. And let's say just this thing just went down. Oh, this just went down. Then you can say, oh, but this break is not good because it broke ever so slightly and the candle after broke bearish, you know? So if I want a break and a pullback, I want like two break candles up, leaving some space to have that retest and go. I'll be the immediate candle afterward. So I was like, ah, shit, you know, this was my demand zone, my flip zone. Why do I say flip zone? Well, it's because supply, yeah, this demand that was created because we had a pullback from supply actually broke structure. This is our flip zone right here. And once along that flip zone, but it wasn't good. And this high on the 1 minute was okay, you know? And we can clearly see the sell pressure in this 1 minute wick. So I was like, ah, shit. And then we already came up, and then at that point, you're hesitating, and you're too late, and you just have to let it go, you know, because then you're just gonna make irrational decisions at that point because you feel FOMO or whatsoever. So yeah, I missed this trade, but it ended up working very nicely, which is still, even though I wasn't in a trade, it's still nice to see the TA being respected the way it was respected right here. So that was kind of my thought process on those two trades. I also had an eye on gold and euro, but it didn't give me an entry, so I didn't post about it or anything. We had that model one that took the range high, and then we still dumped. So I don't really like where gold or euro is at the moment. So I'm not gonna bother trying to find a trade if I don't like the price action and how it looks to enter a trade at the moment. So if I see anything, I'll also keep you guys posted on that. On gold, I was watching one thing, which was this model one redistribution, but um, it never broke bearish again for the reconfirmation. And at the same time, you can have any distribution you want, but this thing is just an all-time high territory. So I'll find the I'll find a trade later. Right now, update the POIs, and then I think this is an amazing 30-minute, 25-minute post analysis trading video. We actually, I'm just seeing that we have 4-minute demand down below us. How does it look on the lower time frames? Yeah, that's nice. Okay. And we had this 5-minute above right here. Kind of sandwich between supply and demand. And then I like having this range. Chart. There you go. Get rid of this. Know that the 50-minute broke perfectly. To visualize it. Here we have our 1-hour high. Yeah, so I would definitely look for a potential short play in here. What could that be? We did not do it. No, we didn't. Sorry. Okay. So potential short play could be price comes higher, hitting that supply zone, and then breaking structure lower inside the volume area, finding a short on a retrace that's RR worthy, and send it to at least the volume area low right here. That's idea number one. We could also hit the supply zone, come lower, not break structure, and come back up to hit this 5-minute OBYM and create a model one where you have your tab one, your tab two, and your tab three. Just simple trade ideas. And if we break the supply zone, I would say we're coming up towards that 1-hour high, and then we'll see what it does there. So far, this volume profile is nicely divided. There's volume everywhere in this range, and I like to use the volume profiles the most. Only gonna put that low here and alert on it. Get rid of it for now, and then definitely look for longs in that 1-hour OBYM. Just a simple range place. Getting also acceptance back inside that volume area for a potential higher low for that 1 hour still from this range perspective. Yeah, finding an entry from this range perspective. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, 2 trades. Trade 1, trade 2, trade 3 if we deviated with structure change. And then if we break that 1-hour high, I really don't see price stopping anywhere sooner than this. We can just take all the liquidity at this point because I bet there's enough liquidity there. Yeah, those are simple trade ideas. Have your alerts ready. Wait for your market to shrink entries. I'll also be posting live about it. And yeah, see you guys later. I had my comments turned off on the last video, which a buddy of mine told me. So I'm gonna try and turn it on. I just have no idea how it was turned off for some reason. So I'll check while uploading this video. But just know you guys can comment anything or any question or anything that I can improve on while making the video or what you guys prefer. Just let me know. See you guys. Peace.